Hi, welcome back. Here in the studio today we're going to have a closer look at a new kid on the block, a new application on the Chili Graphics platform called GraFx Experience, and we're going to apply it to the use case of shopper marketing. So let's start with GraFx Experience. Bart, please introduce us to the new application.
The GraFx Experience makes it possible for a brand to enable their local teams to produce assets. So global teams produce templates that contain the brand guidelines, the rules and the visuals. And then they can, via GraFx Experience, expose those templates to local teams. So the local teams can produce their assets, but the global teams stay in control. So we basically gain a lot of time to market there. Your global team is no longer a bottleneck.
Okay, and we're going to apply it to shopper marketing as a use case. Why is GraFx Experience such a good fit for the use case of shopper marketing?
Shopper marketing is about the shopper journey. So your shopper enters a store and eventually buys products. During that entire journey, the shopper is exposed to multiple touch points, so multiple visuals, sometimes even multi-channel. And those touch points look very different. So these visuals, some of these visuals are about evoking emotion, so that's purely lifestyle. Some of these visuals are very tangible. They are about a certain product at a certain price with certain promotion. During that entire journey, we want to have that story consistent. And typically that is a problem in production. Lots of assets need to be produced. If you give that ownership to the local teams, you lose brand consistency. There's more a chance for errors there. If you give it to your global team is a bottleneck. So what we're doing here, we have this solution. So your global teams basically set up the rules. Your local teams can produce the assets when they need it.
Excellent. Okay, let's go to Raf. Let's have a first look at GraFx Experience for shopper marketing as experienced by a local team producing an integrated campaign. Raf?
Hi guys. Here's how local teams can use GraFx Experience for shopper marketing. Alright, so click on the campaign you want to run. Select the formats you need, such as posters, banners, and digital signage. And now you can localize your assets. For instance, select a region, a flavor, and a price. And as you can see, the design adapts instantly. What you can adapt has been decided by the global design team, so this could be different for each campaign. It's not predefined, but customized, based on your campaign setup. Now, all that's left to do is output the materials, and we're done. It's that simple. And if you're wondering why it works so seamlessly, well, two things. One, all brand elements, such as the logo, fonts, and colors, stay locked. Users can only customize certain things as defined by campaign requirements. And two, behind the scenes, all assets are pulled from a DAM. So when a user switches to a different flavor, for instance, they'll only see images that have been approved by headquarters. Alright guys, back to you.
Okay, thank you Raf. Bart, we see Raf make his briefing explicit. He's very clear about what campaign types he needs, channels, products, pricing, promotions, generates the assets on the fly as he needs them for the local market. I would say impeccable execution.
Yeah, imagine you would do that in a classic setup where each of these assets would start with a briefing. That briefing is sent to the global team to produce that asset on a specific size with a specific product image and so on. Would be impossible to manage. You would be dealing with thousands of assets on a monthly basis. So you would need a lot of process in place, a lot of people also, would result in a lot of back and forth. Yeah, this solution makes it possible for local teams to produce the assets they need when they need them.
Okay. But everything has been carefully tailored by the central team to allow for this type of execution. So what do they need to put in place to enable Raf to act like this?
So these global teams, they produce campaign templates. And in a campaign template, you have definitions of the different formats and channels and sizes. You have the brand guidelines in there. And of course, a lot of business logic and decisions that need to be made when certain choices have been made in the briefing. And today, we can also tell you that we have a new kid on the block recently for the management of brand guidelines, because brand guidelines cannot be managed in GraFx Brand Kits. So maybe we can start with that and let Raf show us what GraFx Brand Kits is about.
Okay, Raf?
Absolutely. If you value brand consistency, watch closely. With the GraFx brand kits, you can save your brand elements and retrieve them directly in GraFx Studio. You can do that for a single template, multiple templates, or even multiple brands. Let me show you how easy it is. So open GraFx brand kits, add your colors. You can obviously use CMYK, RGB, and spot colors. Then select your fonts from GraFx Fonts, as well as your media from GraFx Media. In this case, we added a logo, background, and some graphics. Then add your paragraph styles and character styles. And that's it, quick and easy. Now, when you create a template in GraFx Studio, you can load your brand kit and access all brand elements right there. It's super easy to set up and will save your template designers a lot of time. Cherry on top, every designer is working with the same brand elements, ensuring consistency. All right, guys, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Raf. GraFx brand kits, very clear. Bart, when Raf was creating his brief and generating those assets, we see him use all kinds of different variables, like visuals of products, of lifestyle images, pricing, discount, promo campaigns. Where does all this data and all the visuals and media, where does it come from? Does it sit hard-coded in the smart template, or is it from somewhere else?
We obviously don't want to hard code that kind of information in the templates. With one of the core concepts of the GraFx platform is that we can connect to the different systems in your MarTech stack and pull in that kind of information. So we're able to pull in images from the DAM system you're using. We're able to pull in product information from your product information management system, and so on. We basically can connect to all the systems in the MarTech stack, use those still as a single source of truth, and bring in that information in those campaign templates.
Okay, let's have a look at how you can connect two live data sources within GraFx Studio. Raf?
Thanks, guys. Here, we'll go with both data and media connectors. For the data, I'll use a Google Sheet. It contains campaign data such as SKUs, regions, flavors, prices, etc. All I need to do is map the columns to variables in GraFx Studio. For media, we connect the template to a DAM where each SKU points to a product image. We feed the SKU from the Google Sheet to feed into the DAM connector, and the DAM will, in return, provide us with the right image. Now, both connectors are live. Data feeds the fields, and the DAM delivers the right image. I can generate assets in bulk, in one go. And as you can see here, we've got specific products with prices displayed in local currencies and images that have already been approved by headquarters. Now, we're ready to launch our campaign worldwide across point of sale, OOH, display, socials, you name it. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Raf. Bart, so now we have dynamic smart templates. We connected different sources for media, for data. This feels like a very organic system that will just adopt to whatever comes into the smart template. But what if data or visuals change in the source system? Like, is it this flexible that can just pick it up anyway?
Yeah, it's even more problematic when you need different sizes and something is resizable. If the same asset is being used across different sizes, obviously your template needs to know how to respond to that. But we have many different techniques in place. We have AI resizing, we have dynamic composition concepts, and so on. So that makes it possible to work with any data that is coming in on any channel at any size.
Okay.
So maybe Raf can also show us some examples of how to make your template truly dynamic.
Okay, Raf?
Let me show you how a smart template adapts to your data. First and foremost, product selection. This will update not only the image, but also related items. This data can come from your PIM system. Now, as a template designer, I can use layout presets for any channel. We're talking OOH, display, socials, in-stores, etc. Okay, next. When you add a new layout, GraFx Studio resizes and repositions your elements proportionally. With dynamic anchoring, the relative positioning of your elements will be maintained when you use different layouts. Now, here's some cropping magic. Thanks to our AI-powered Genie Vision, our Smart Crop engine will ensure that the point of interest is always visible. Icing on the cake? Our subject positioning feature ensures that elements on the design don't obstruct the talent or product. And last but not least, in a print setting, you may need very specific dimensions. With GraFx Studio, you can enter your dimensions, and our AI resizing engine will find the layout that best fits your needs. All of this logic gives designers a lot of freedom while ensuring that the brand guidelines are followed. Back to you.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Raf, thank you for all the demos. I hope our audience, you enjoyed seeing the updates to Chili GraFx platform. We looked at GraFx Experience, new application, another recent application, GraFx Brand Kits to control brand identity. If you want to have a closer look, ask your specific questions, apply this to your use cases. Don't be shy, reach out. We'll be happy to set you up with a good demo environment and show you around, answer any questions. Thanks for your attention. Bye.